All right, guys, welcome to the new UFC 238 preview, the new edition of the MMA OB Daily Show with your host, as always, Adam Martin, joined by Cole Shelton from Cejudo.com. Again, how you doing, Cole?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, man. Good, good. You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Martin. What's your Twitter again, Cole?
At Cole Shelton 91.
There you go. So follow Cole out there. He's working for everyone that I'm working for right now, it seems like. So definitely give him a follow and follow his work. We're going to break down UFC 238. First off, though, let's talk about UFC Sweden since we broke down the card last week. Rough night of picks for me. Cole, you did a little better, but a little bit of a rough night for you as well. Just any thoughts on the card? Anything you want to talk about? Because I already did the preview, the recap show Monday. Anything you want to talk about from the card? Go ahead.
Well, just the main event, the Gustafsson-Smith fight. I was completely shocked that I did not see the fight going that way. Just seeing Gustafsson just couldn't pull the trigger. He was Smith just was always pushing forward, and Gustafsson just couldn't get anything going. And then right when he got the back, right when he got him to the ground, got the back, it was all over. And that crowd, that was dead silent in that arena watching that after. And then the retirement, he has been talking about retiring for quite a while. If it is his retirement, what a career he's had. I know he never won a UFC title, but he's one of the best light heavyweights ever. He was always at the top. Look who he lost to. He lost to Jones, Cormier, Rumble, and Anthony Smith. Those aren't bad guys to lose to.
Yeah, and Phil Davis too early in his
career.
Yeah, no, he's one of the best of all time. I'd say top 10 light heavyweight ever. He was top 5 for the last decade. So the guy had a great career. And I'm like you, Cole. I was very, very surprised by the outcome of that fight. Anthony Smith looked great. I thought maybe Gustafsson had more left in the tank than Smith after the way Smith got beat down by Jones. But clearly that was a bad performance by him. He's a great fighter. What about Rakic? What did you think of his performance knocking out Manuel in the first round?
That was crazy. I thought Rakic was going to win. I did not think it would be that early. That knockout was brutal. And just the way he did it, that head kick, Manuel was out cold. And good to see Manuel retire. He's been taking way too much damage as of late. The Santos fight, that was 231. That was a bad knockout. This one was a bad knockout. Although he was entertaining, if he kept on going, it would have sucked for the UFC because they wouldn't have cut him because he's entertaining. But it would have been hard for them to give him a fight given all that damage he's gotten. So it's good to see that he goes out on his own terms, really.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, Cole. And again, I talked about this on, I think, was it Monday's episode? Talked a little bit about Manuel's retiring yesterday as well. I agree with you. Good call by him. Anything else on the card stand out to you that you want to talk about here?
I was really disappointed in Joe against Tamar. He just didn't look like he had it all. I thought that was going to be an easy win for him, but quite disappointed. There was a lot of the prelims, a lot of good fights on there. Evanger, that fight I got completely wrong. I thought she was going to win that one. But yeah, I was just like you. I wasn't too good on the picks that card.
It is what it is. We'll get him back this weekend, man. And the only other guy I'd like to mention here, well, there's two. Leonardo Santos coming off that long layoff. I think we both picked him to get the knockout. And I believe we both picked Frank Camacho, who had a tremendous performance against Nick Hein. I don't remember anyone who's used the body kick that efficiently in MMA. So excellent performance. But anyways, that's in the past. Now we're in the future. UFC 238 this Saturday in Chicago. I won't be there, but I'll be doing the play-by-play for Sherdog. I believe you'll be looking through my play-by-play.
No, I'm actually not working it. I got a golf tournament, my brother's memorial golf tournament to do, so I'd ask Mike to get that off. But I'll catch up all Sunday morning with all the fights.
It's all good, man. It's all good. All right, cool. So let's just get right into it here. UFC 238, great card, tremendous card, really stacked, top to bottom. Let's start from the bottom, work our way up. First up, women's flyweight bout between Joanne Calderwood and Katlyn Chookagian. Calderwood 13-3 record, Chookagian 11-2. The odds opened at Calderwood -175, Chookagian +135. Currently, we have it's a pick'em -110 apiece. What are your thoughts on this one, Cole?
Well, just first off, I don't know why this is the first fight of the night. I think this is a better fight than the Carolina Alexei Grasso one that's on the prelims. Because this fight actually means something. I think the winner of this gets a title shot against Shevchenko. And Calderwood, she has looked really good at flyweight. I've been really impressed with her. Chookagian, she had that close fight against I. Could have went either way at 231. I personally thought I won the fight. But I think really winner of this wins or gets the next shot at Shevchenko or I, whoever wins that. But in my opinion, I think Calderwood will win this fight. I think she has the better striking. She picked apart her last fight. Lipsky, who was supposed to be a really good prospect coming in, and she dominated her. She looked really good. She got her to the ground a couple of times. Her ground game is underrated in my opinion, but I think her striking, I think it'll be mostly on the feet. I think she'll just really use the jab effectively and really. I think she'll go the distance, but I think she's going to win on all. Like I could see a 30-27 easily.
Yeah, you're a little more confident in Calder than I am. I'm going to pick her as well. I have been impressed with her since moving up to flyweight. Actually, she was in a flyweight bout a couple of years ago against what's her name, Valerie Letourneau. That was the first flyweight bout before the division was actually created. But she's 3-0 as a flyweight in the UFC, so she's very effective at 125. I'm with you, man. She was impressive in that last fight against Lipsky, and also Faria too. She submitted her on the ground, so her ground games looked a lot better. Good striking too. And the thing with Chukagian that I don't like is she only wins decisions, man. She has no finishing power whatsoever. We haven't seen her ground game. I just really haven't been impressed with her. She could grind it out though. I wouldn't put it past her to win a split decision. And that's why I wouldn't recommend a bet in this fight, because I think it's going to be pretty close, man. I think it's going to go the distance, almost assuredly going the distance. Or the odds on that. Yeah, minus 335 for the fight to go the full 3 rounds. So everyone's kind of banking on that happening. I think it does happen. I'll take Calderwood to win a split or unanimous decision, but man, it's going to be, I think, pretty close. I do think she's a better fighter, though, and she should probably win this fight. Next up, we have, well, here's the thing. Sherdog.com that's our home. We don't have this bantamweight bout between Grigory Popov and Eddie Wineland listed for some reason. It's weird, right? Isn't that weird, though? What were you going to say? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just thought that was weird. I was going to send
but it's also,
Jay a note.
Yeah, it's on. There's a couple websites that are missing. Like even on Wikipedia, it's like on the announced books. Anyways, Junkie has it listed as official. There's the interviews out there with Bavon Lewis talking about not Bavon Lewis, with Popov talking about the fight. So I'm pretty sure it's happening. It's kind of weird that it's not insured on right now, but hopefully they update that. Anyways, let me pull these guys' records out. 13-1 for Popov, and Eddie Wineland has a 23-13-1 record. Okay, so the opening odds: Eddie Wineland minus 145, Popov plus 105. Currently, Wineland minus 135, Popov plus 115. So the line just tightened up a bit. Not much action either way. What are your initial thoughts on this bantamweight bout?
Well, this is the thing. Like Wineland hasn't looked too impressive in this fight, but I still think he gets it done. Like he lost to Alejandro Perez and John Dodson his past 2 fights. They went to the distance. Like I think that's how he's going to win this fight. I think he'll just use his striking. He's knocked people out. He has the knockout power, so I think he could get a finish. But I wouldn't be surprised if this just goes the distance and Wineland finally gets back in the win column. But if he loses, that's 3 fights in a row. I could easily see him getting cut by the UFC.
Yeah, so this is an interesting fight. I mean, I've been a fan of Wineland for a long time. He's been fighting since 2003. He's 34 now, which I was surprised by. Cole. I thought he was older than that, to be honest with you, because he's been fighting for 16 years. He's been fighting since he was 18 years old as a pro. I'm pretty sure he's a firefighter too, so he doesn't do this full time. He only fights once a year, which I really don't like. And he hasn't won a fight since 2016. I've been really good at picking Wineland's fights over the years. I've been actually pretty good when he's won too. Like the Mitsugaki fight, I had him there, and the Saints fight as well. But the last few fights he's lost and hasn't looked great. He barely fights. This Popov guy, though, it's kind of tough too because he's 35, so he's not really a prospect per se. He's also making his UFC debut, but the thing I like about him is, first off, he's fresher. He only started fighting as a pro in 2012, so he hasn't taken as much damage as Wineland has. Also, he's on a really nice win streak right now of 9 straight fights. Also, I was reading an interview with him where his manager was talking about why they signed him. First off, he trains at Tiger Muay Thai, so we all know how many good fighters coming out of that camp right now. And second off, they said that Sean Shelby really liked this guy because, Cole, he has 2 gold-platas on his record. So this guy is fun to watch. He is older guy. He's got to make something happen right now. But I'll be honest, I like Popov in this fight. You know, Wineland has the experience, and he's a good fighter. He's got good wrestling and really good striking, like you said. He's got knockout power, but I just think he's on the decline, man. I think Popov's going to come on there and beat them. So I like Popov here, plus 115. He's one of the dogs I actually really am eyeing on this card. So I think he's going to win the decision. He could finish Wineland, probably not, but I like him as a dog, man. So we'll see what happens there. All right, next up, middleweight bout between Bavon Lewis and Darren Stewart. I like this fight a lot too. Bavon Lewis 6-1, Darren Stewart 9-4. The odds open: Bavon Lewis minus 155, Darren Stewart plus 115. Currently, Bavon Lewis minus 235, Darren Stewart plus 195. Cole, who do you like in this one?
Well, I thought in the Bavon's last fight against Uriah Hall, he was winning that fight before he got knocked out. I think he showed a lot in that fight. And Darren Stewart, like his last fight too, a split decision against Edmund Shabazian. That's not a bad loss. Like Edmund's really good. So I think it'll be a really close fight. But I think Pavon's going to win. I think he has the knockout power to win. And I think Darren Stewart, like, he's been good, but he doesn't have that, like, big fight or big win. Neither does Devon, but at least he went, like, he was picking apart Uriah Hall. And Uriah Hall, for what, I mean, he isn't that good, but he still is ranked. Like, I think with that win, like, he would have been a ranked fighter, but I think Pavon gets it done here. I wouldn't, like, a decision I could see, but I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes this fight.
Yeah, this is an interesting one as well. I like the matchup here. First off, Pavon Lewis, I had him against Uriah Hall. I think I gave him out as a prime pick. Very disappointed the way he lost there because he was winning the whole fight, like you said, Cole. I was like, man, I watched the fight with James actually, and I was like, man, this guy's looking good. James was like, yeah, I agree. And then bang, out of nowhere. We've seen Hall do that before. Hall has that knockout power. We've seen him knock guys like Musasi. So, I think that if anything, it shows how underrated Hall can be at times when he's on. But the guy did show some really good skills before that. The thing is, though, I think Darren Stewart's kind of underrated, man. Yeah, his record's not great, 9-4-1 no contest, and even in the UFC, what's his record? It's 2-4-1 no contest. But look at the Charles Byrd fight. Everyone counted him out of that one, and he knocked him out. Look at the Eric Spicely fight. Everyone counted out of that one, knocked him out, and he almost beat Edmund too in his last fight. So I personally wouldn't bet on this fight because I think that Stewart could win. So I'm going to pass on it. I will take Lewis to win. I think he's probably going to win decision here. He might knock out Darren Stewart as well. It's possible there, or maybe even take him down to the ground. I doubt it though. But that's where it seems to be weak. I don't know, Cole. I honestly think there's some upset potential here with Darren Stewart. The guy is someone that people for some reason are writing off, and surprisingly, they're the same age at 28. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm going to take Lewis like you, Cole, but I'm not 100% confident in that one. All right, next up, women's strawweight. I like this fight too. Xiaonan Yan against Angela Hill. The opening odds had Yan minus 135, Hill minus 105. Currently, Yan minus 175, Hill plus 155. So the action is coming on Yan so far. Cole, what do you like? What do you think about this fight?
Well, just first off, this is crazy. This is Hill's third fight since March. Like, she got dominated to Randa Marcos. That was a bad loss. Like, she had nothing going for her. And then she really dominated that fight against Jodie Esquel, stepping on short notice. This fight, I have to favor Yan in this. I think she could be a real deal. She has looked impressive. She has good striking. And Hill, like, obviously her ground game wasn't that good, but as Marcos, like, really took her down, really dominated her. But Yan isn't really a big threat on the ground. I think this fight will remain standing. But I could see Yan scoring a knockout. Like, she has the power, but really, I just think a decision is what's ultimately going to happen, and Yan gets her hand raised. But Hill, like, I keep on picking her fights wrong. Every time I think she's going to win, she loses. Every time she loses, I think she would have won that fight. So it's tough. I wouldn't really bet on this fight, but I don't know. I just think Yan will win ultimately.
Yeah, I'm like you, man. I'm kind of inconsistent with Angela Hill's fights. It's crazy though. Seeing she was like a minus 600 favorite last fight against Jodie Esquel. Comes in here, she's an underdog now, and like you said, third fight in the last 3 months. That's crazy. It's good though that she's fighting more consistently and stuff, but geez, that's a lot of fights. Yan has definitely looked impressive. She's on a nice win streak here. You know what though, man? I think it's gonna be a close fight too. I'm gonna take Yan. I think she's gonna win the decision here, but honestly, I don't know if I'll bet it either because I think Hill could win. I honestly do. I think matchup wise, it's not a bad matchup for her because it's probably gonna take place on the feet. She has good striking. I think Yan probably is gonna be a little bit more active though. And I think she's a little bit stronger too. And I think that maybe she could win the fight in the clinch as well and kind of grind it out. So I'll take Yan to win the decision, Cole. But like you, I think it could possibly be another fight where you do see Hill kind of pull something out of her hat here. All right, another women's strawweight bout, a fight you talked about a little bit earlier in the show. Karolina Kowalkiewicz against Alexa Grasso. The odds opened at Kowalkiewicz. Sorry, I'm pronouncing her name wrong. Kowalkiewicz, excuse me. Minus 195, Grasso plus 155. And currently the odds have Kowalkiewicz minus 130, minus 115, Grasso minus 105. So the early action is coming on Grasso here. Cole, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Well, I don't know. Kowalkiewicz, she did not look impressive against the Waterson fight. The knockout against Andrade, that was a bad knockout. I think Grasso, she's coming off that loss to Tatiana Suarez. But Tatiana Suarez, like, I think she's a future champion. She is really good. So you can't put a whole lot of stock in that loss. Really, I think this is a fight I think it's good matchmaking. Kowalkiewicz needs a win. Grasso, she's coming off a loss, but really, like, who's her win? She beat Randa Marcos by decision, lost to Felice Herrig. I think she gets this fight done. I think wouldn't be surprised if it goes the distance. And I think Kovacevic, like she used to be a title challenger, 3 losses in a row. That would really hurt her stock. And she would like in the strawweight division, like I know she's kind of a name. I wouldn't be surprised to see if the UFC kept her for if she loses this fight, but I wouldn't be surprised either if she got cut. But I think Grasso just really picks her apart on the feet like Waterson did, and can take her down to the ground like Waterson and gets this win.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you on this one too. I've been pretty good at picking Kovalevic's fights, anyways. I did have Waterson as an underdog in the last fight, and she looked really poor in that fight. Cole, she's only what's her record in the UFC? It's 5-4, but she's lost 4 of her last 6 fights, so she's on decline. It looks like she's 33 now. Just really hasn't looked good. I think that Jessica Andrade fight with that knockout that could change someone's career. It looks like it's possibly led to a decline for her. Grasso just 2-2 in the UFC. She's also been very disappointing, but she's only 25, so she's got a lot of time to turn things around. In Invictus, she was a really good prospect. I was never really buying into all the hype that she could be a future UFC champion. I still don't believe that, especially seeing the Suarez fight where she was dominating the mat. I think her ground game needs a lot of work, but I think Carolina's ground game needs a lot of work. And I think striking-wise, I think Grasso's a little bit sharper on the feet. So I like Grasso too, man. She's only a -105 dog right now, but if she got the plus money, I would definitely consider taking a shot on her. Another really good fight here. Bantamweight belt between.
Did you miss Lamas Cater?
Oh, did I miss it? Okay.
I think that's the.
Yeah. Sorry, I did. Yeah. You know what? I'm looking at best fight odds, and they have the order a little different. So yes, we did miss Lamas and Cater. Featherweight belt between Ricardo Lamas and Calvin Cater. Like this fight a lot too. What were the opening on this one? Calvin Cater -165, Ricardo Lamas +125. Currently, the odds are Calvin Cater -150, Ricardo Lamas +130. And sorry, guys, I forgot to give the records out, but honestly, it's a little bit too much of numbers right now. I'll just do that later. You can check the Sherdogs if you want to see the records. Cole, what are your thoughts on this one?
I talked to Cater for this fight, and I think he said something really interesting. He said he fought in Massachusetts in the UFC, like at UFC. What was it? When they went to Boston, what card was that? 220.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. So that's where he fought at home, and he said like Lamas is fighting in Chicago, and he doesn't like. He thinks fighting at home really gives him nerves. Like he thinks Lamas will feel that. You have so many friends and family there cheering you on and everything. And he said he has no pressure on him fighting in Lamas's hometown. He said, and I think he really has impressed me. That Burgos fight really impressed me. I know he lost to Moicano, but that was still a pretty impressive fight. And really, I think Lamas, like he hasn't been too impressive lately, but like that Emmett loss was really bad. But I think Cater gets this done. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes this fight. So I really like Cater. I think he should be pretty high up in the rankings after this. And that really, the Burgos fight is what's really impressed me about him.
Yeah. No, I like him too. I like Calvin Cater a lot. He's 31, so he's not really a prospect. At this point, he's a contender. He's been fighting a long time. He fought in the Elite XC back in the day, so he's been around a long time. Moicano loss was disappointing, but we don't know Moicano is a good fighter. And otherwise, he's 3-1 in the UFC, so definitely a good fighter. The Shane Burgos fight, I'm like with you, man. That was an excellent fight, and he looked really good. And Shane Burgos is a great fighter too, so that was a good win. I don't know, though. I think Lamas, again, there's some upset potential here with this guy. First off, he is 37, so he's a little older, but he's fighting at home in Chicago. So I think that's going to really help this guy out. Coming off a really nice win over Darren Elkins. Before that, split decision loss to Bektic, which is not a bad loss. He did get knocked out by Emmett in a fight. Emmett missed weight. Before that, knocked out Knight and finished Oliveira, lost to Holloway. Like, this guy really only loses to the top guys in the division, man. I think Ricardo Lamas is a really good fighter. The age thing is what's going to push me away from him here. I have to go with Cater too. I think Cater's really good. He's younger, 6 years younger, and I can't ignore that. I don't know, man. I think there's some upset potential, though. I wouldn't be shocked if Lamas could pull this off. So I'm with you on Cater. I think he probably grinds out a decision over a pretty durable Lamas, but I don't know. I'm not 100% confident as far as betting, and I think a lot of people would feel the same way, and that's why the line is so tight right now. -150, +130. All right, now we'll get to the bantamweight bout between Aljamain Sterling and Pedro Munoz. Excellent fight here. I love this one. Pedro Munoz opened at -125, Aljamain Sterling at -115. And currently we have Sterling at -130, Pedro Munoz +110. So early action coming on Sterling. Still a very close matchup as far as the odds go. Cole, who do you like in this one?
Well, like you said, this is a really good fight, really good matchmaking here by the UFC. I think winner of this, similar to the Calderwood-Chikagan fight, gets a title shot. Um, but Munoz's last fight against Garbrandt, that really impressed me. The knockout, showing he has that knockout power. Sterling, he has been on a roll since that Moraes loss. But I think this is a really close fight. Like I don't really know who I'm picking. Like I think Sterling will win this fight. I think he'll grind out a decision. But this is a fight I wouldn't bet on. Like Sterling, they're both good strikers. Sterling should have the advantage on the ground, but really Munoz has shown he has a good ground game too. This is an extremely close fight. I think it goes to the scorecards. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a split decision either.
Who are you picking though?
I got Sterling.
Okay, yeah. You know what? I agree it's going to be close. I got Munoz though. I was really impressed. Excuse me. I was very impressed with that fight against Cody Garbrandt. He stayed composed during a firefight and knocked him out. And that's a huge win. That's a bigger win than Sterling's ever had. He's currently on a run where he's 7-1, and he could have beat John Dodson, so he could be on an 8-fight win streak. The guys looked impressive as hell, man. Like you said, great ground game for Munoz. Great striking too. I think he's extremely well rounded. Trains an American top team, comes from a great camp. Sterling's looked great too, though, for sure. Since the Marlon Moraes knockout, he's won 3 straight fights, dominated everyone, dominated Cody Stamen, dominated Brett Johns. The Jimmy Rivera fight was close, but he still won that fight, so that's a good win too. I think they're both great, man, but I'm going to lean towards Munoz a little bit. I just think he's a little bit more well-rounded, a little bit better striking. But I'm like you, man, I don't think it's worth betting on because they're both so good, and I think it's a really tight matchup. Excellent matchmaking here by the UFC. It's kind of like a mini bantamweight tournament going on with the Rivera and Yan fight, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Well, I'm surprised this fight isn't on the main card instead of Rivera-Yan. I think this is a better fight.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they're trying to showcase Yan. We'll talk about it in a second. I just think that heavyweight bout between Tuivasa and Volkanov, that has no place in the main card when there's so many quality matchups on the prelims, but that's just me. I already complained about that on Twitter once, and I'm not going to do it anymore on here. What's up? What's next? Yeah. Okay. So I'll talk about the odds on this one. Women's strawweight bout, Tatiana Suarez against Nina Ansaroff. Suarez opened at minus 515. Suarez opened at, Ansaroff opened at plus 345. So big underdog in this one. And the line's ballooned since then, minus 900 now for Suarez, plus 600 for Ansaroff. Cole, do I even have to ask who you're picking in this fight?
Well, I got Suarez. I think, like I said earlier, I think she's a future champ. She has been dominant. Her striking's really good, but her ground game, like if she gets down to the ground, her ground and pound is like it's one of the best in the division, if not the best. And Ansaroff, although she was impressive in her last fight against Gadela at 231, she's like winner of this gets a title shot, and I think Suarez will just dominate her. I honestly think Suarez will finish this fight like second round ground and pound. I wouldn't be too surprised. She has been really impressive. I think she's the future of the division, and I think this is just a fight to get her another win and get her the title shot.
I'm with you, man. I like Suarez too, obviously. I mean, I've been saying since I saw her, first time I saw her in the UFC, I thought, wow, this girl's going to be something special one day. Great story too, cancer survivor, of course, and she's looked amazing. Ultimate Fighter winner. 4 straight wins in the octagon, man. Cooper, Pereira, Grasso, and Esparza. And the Esparza win, geez, like that was a brutal, brutal finish. Esparza's still a solid fighter, man. She won her last fight. She's still a good fighter. Ansaroff's looked good too. I got to give her some credit here. She's 33. She's a little bit older, but she's on a 4-fight win streak. For someone to open her UFC career with 2 straight losses, a lot of people thought she was only on the roster because she's engaged to Amanda Nunes. So, there was some merit, I think, to that argument, but not at this point. And she's just on the roster because she's a really good fighter now, and she's turned into something special. I don't like the matchup for her, man. I think Suarez takes her down, beats her up. And you know what? There is a very good chance I think Suarez does get a finish here. She's just a beast on the ground. So I'm looking at that prop. It's minus 180, but I think that's a lot better than minus 900 on Suarez. Still, I like Suarez either way. I think she dominates this fight and wins in dominant fashion.
Honestly, throwing Suarez in a parlay, like just if you want to take Suarez, that's the only way I'd bet her.
Yeah, I mean, there's some risk in that, obviously, man, with minus 900. You're not adding that much to a parlay, but I do think she wins. So she's going to be a popular parlay. She already is. I mean, she went from minus 500 to minus 900. So everyone's kind of on the same train as you, Cole. They're all throwing into the parlays, and it's hard to blame people because they want to add a little bit of extra bang for their buck when they're betting a couple fighters. All right, now we're getting to the main card. First off, heavyweight bout between Tai Tuivasa and Blagoy Ivanov. Tai Tuivasa opened at minus 165, Ivanov plus 125. Currently, Tai Tuivasa is minus 145, Ivanov plus 125. I personally don't know why this is on opening the main card. Yes, it's heavyweights, but I think that this could potentially be a boring fight. So really weird decision here when there's so many good fights in the prelims. But anyways, Cole, who do you like in this one?
But yeah, I agree with you. I don't really know why it's on the main card. Like you put Suarez answer off, put Munoz, Sterling on them, like opening it up. But this fight, like I agree with you. Like I think if there isn't a finish in the first like round or two, both guys their cardio is not the best. Like the third round could be really sloppy, or someone just could get finished by a punch. But I think Tuivasa wins this fight. I talked to Ivanov before the fight, and he basically says he thinks that first loss as a pro really like changes your whole confidence thing. And he think he's betting on that impacting Tuivasa. I personally don't think it will. Like he lost to a really good Junior Dos Santos. I think he'll rebound here, get a win. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes the fight, but I think it goes to scorecards similar to the Rothwell Ivanov fight, where I personally scored the fight for Rothwell. So I don't really Ivanov hasn't really impressed me too much in the UFC, and I think Tuivasa just gets this win.
Yeah, I mean it's heavyweight MMA, so these fights tend to go either way. I don't know, man. I've really been looking into this one. Tebesa, he's definitely impressive in the beginning of his career, but the last two fights, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with this guy. The Arlovsky fight, I think he probably lost that fight, and that that's not a good loss to have. He did end up winning it, but his wins were over Cyril Oscar and Rashad Coulter, not good fighters. Got destroyed by JDS. Vonov has a lot more experience. He's 32. He's not super old, but he's definitely an older guy. Tons of experience though over the years. Never been finished by knockout. Been submitted once in his career by Volkov. Again, not a bad guy to be finished by. Besides, he lost to JDS too, but lost the decision. Wasn't finished. And before that, had a nice win streak going against guys like Sean Jordan and Josh Copeland. So, middle tier heavyweights. The win over Rothwell, yes, questionable a little bit, but still they'll get deep and won the fight. So, you know what, man? I'm gonna go with the underdog here. I'll take a Ivanov to win a decision. I don't know. The Tuivasa doesn't impress me, man. If he doesn't get that first round knockout call, I think he loses the decision. That's how I look at it. Maybe hedge your bet here, but I don't know. I there's a reason why the line is staying steady because people don't trust Tuivasa, and I don't blame them. I think there's some upside potential here with Ivanov to grind out a decision, but it's heavyweight MMA, so really, who knows? Flip a coin. Low level heavyweights going at it. Yeah, don't know why it's on the main card.
Yeah, and this is a fight like I wouldn't bet on. Personally, I've been going back and forth on this fight. Like last week, I thought Ivanov was going to win. Like by the time we submit Sterdog picks, I could be completely switched. I could think Ivanov wins. Like this is a fight. Like it's just like heavyweight. I have no idea who's going to win this fight, so I'd stay away from it if you're going to bet it.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, next up, great fight. Bantamweight bout between Jimmy Rivera and Peter Yan. The odds opened at Peter Yan minus 215, Jimmy Rivera plus 165. Currently, we have Peter Yan as a minus 325 favorite, Jimmy Rivera plus 265. So a lot of action coming on Yan. Cole, who do you like in this one?
Well, just first off, I think the odds are too high on this. Like John Dodson hurt Peter Yan in his last fight. John Dodson does not have much knockout power. Jimmy Rivera has shown he has power. If he catches Yan like Dodson did, like I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes this fight. I do think Yan wins this fight. I think he grinds out a decision win, similar to what Sterling did to Rivera, but I think it's a much closer fight than what the odds are. I think he outstrikes Rivera. I think his striking's better. And really, this is a showcase fight to show that he is one of the top bantamweights out there.
Yeah, you know what? I think the line might be a little too high too. I got to look at it a little bit more, but I think people are writing Rivera off a little bit too soon. The guy is still a really solid fighter. I think, yeah, he lost the decision at Sterling and got knocked out at Moraes, but he's got some good wins on his record, man. Munoz, Faber, Almeida, Dodson, Alcantara. Like, he's got some good wins. He was on a 25 win streak at one point, so he's a good fighter. He had some issues the last couple of years with his fights, but, I think it's just a lot of respect for Peter Yan. It's hard not to respect this guy, man. He's looked amazing. 7 straight wins, 4-0 in the UFC. Dodson, De Silva de Andrade, who I think is a really good fighter, by the way. Also, that Jinsu Song guy, which was a close fight, but he still won. And then Ishihara, who destroyed. He's looked good, but again, like you said, even that Jinsu Song fight, man, like it looked sketchy at the beginning. He ended up grinding it out. He got the win. It was a good win for him, but I think he's great. I think he's going to win. I'm not going to overthink it. I'll take Peter Yan. I think he wins the decision. I'm just saying, I think people are writing off Jimmy Rivera a little bit too soon. He's still a quality fighter, in my opinion, and I don't see him winning, Cole. But again, do I want to like minus 325? I'm not sure. I got to think about it a little bit more. I'll take my decision. What's the problem with that? Minus 105. So I think that's probably the way to go here because I don't see him finishing Jimmy Rivera. All right, what's next here? Okay, all right. Now we're getting into the really good fights in this card. All right, and this is a good card, but this is to me. Okay, here's the fight of the night right here, Cole. Tony Ferguson and Donald Cerrone. Tony Ferguson opened at minus 245, Cerrone plus 175 at the opener. Currently, the odds have dropped quite a lot. Tony Ferguson's only minus 145 now. Cerrone's plus 125. Cole, who do you like in what I consider the main event of the card?
Well, yeah, and speaking of that, I wrote a opinion thing for Sure Dog 2 weeks ago of calling this the people's main event, like why this isn't the main event is kind of a joke. And I literally asked fighters, I said, if you could only pick one fight I asked Kevin Lee and Cesar Eubanks, I said, if you could only pick one fight to watch on this card, which fight are you watching? And they both said Cowboy Ferguson. Like, this is the fight everyone's talking about. This is a super close fight. Both have similar styles. Like, both have really good jiu-jitsu, good ground game. Both have really good striking. Cowboy's kicks could be a problem in this fight. And Ferguson's, like, how he's been away with the mental stuff kind of scares me. But he is really good. He should have gotten a title shot by now. If the winner of this fight doesn't get a title shot and McGregor does, I think this is kind of a joke. This has to be for a title. But really, this is a fight. It's a pick-em, in my opinion. Like, Cerrone has been really impressive at lightweight. I thought he was going to lose to Iaquinta. I picked him, but I wasn't confident, and he ended up really showing in that fight. Ferguson, the Pettis fight, he did get rocked, but he closed the fight out. I know Pettis had the broken hand. It's a close fight, but I honestly am favoring Cerrone. I think he's been really impressive at lightweight. I think Ferguson, like, it's a close fight, don't get me wrong. I think it goes the distance, but I think Cerrone can get it done in this one.
Cerrone's look good, man. And you know what? I've picked his last 3 fights wrong, so I gotta just go out there and say that right now. But I like Tony Ferguson, man. I mean, I've been betting on this guy's whole career in the UFC. He's only filmed me once against Michael Johnson. In a fight, he broke his arm. He still went the distance. Otherwise, he's 14-1 in the UFC. I mean, that's incredible. 11 straight wins. Look at these wins he's got, man. Pettis, Kevin Lee, RDA, Barboza, Josh Thompson, like really, really big names. Look at all the bonuses this guy wins. Like, Cerrone's amazing too. Don't get me wrong, but I think Ferguson is just an elite fighter. You're right, Cole. There are some stuff outside the cage that definitely is concerning, no doubt about it. And he hasn't fought since October. I just think he's a beast, man. I like Tony Ferguson a lot. You know, I'm surprised he's 35. He's actually Cerrone's 36, so it's a little strange to see Ferguson this old because he's been inactive the last few years. I think he wins this fight, man. Going to be an amazing fight. I don't know if he wins the decision or not. Maybe stoppage. I wish it was 5 rounds. I really do. Like, I was actually talking to Aaron Bronstein about this, Cole. Like, his argument was, why not make this 5 rounds? Make this the main event. And then you still have the 2 other title fights that's 5 rounds anyways, right? So, because I think it's going to go the full 3 probably now that I think about it a little more. I think it did need those championship rounds. I like Ferguson, my man. We'll see. We'll see what happens, though. Definitely a good fight. I'm interested to watch this one a lot. It's the people's main event, like you mentioned.
Well, this is a fight, too, where Cerrone has mentioned if he doesn't get going early, like if he doesn't have it, like you said in the locker room, like this is a fight he's going to lose. Like he has to start off really strong against Hernandez. Like he can't take like a few minutes off against Ferguson.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I agree. I mean, Ferguson it's a fast starter for sure. Going to be a great fight, though. I can't wait for this one. All right. 2 title fights. Let's talk about the first one here. This is quite a mismatch, according to the odds. Women's flyweight title fight between Valentina Shevchenko and Jessica Ai. Shevchenko opened at minus 1,300, Ai plus 700. Currently, Shevchenko minus 1,375, Jessica Ai plus 900. Cole, do you think Ai has any chance to win this fight?
I think Shevchenko wins this fight. Wouldn't be surprised if she stops it. I think like a 3rd, 4th round stoppage is what's going to happen. I talked to Ai before this fight. She seems really confident. She says like, no, Shevchenko, no one's fought Shevchenko like she has with the pressure and how to get dirty, like the dirty boxing kind of style she brings. But I don't think that's enough. I think Shevchenko, I really don't see anyone really dethroning Shevchenko for a long time. I think she beat Amanda Nunes in the second fight. Like she is really good. She's one of the best women's fighter in the UFC. I think she gets this done, and this is just another title defense on her career.
No, I mean, you have to go with Shevchenko here. Here's the question, though. Does the fight end inside distance or by decision? Because you can't bet minus 1,375. There's no value there. And if I somehow pulls it off, you're going to be like, oh, man, why did I throw away my parlays? So I wouldn't even bet it because I don't see value there, although I do think she dominates the fight and wins. I think you either go with Shevchenko inside the distance, which is minus 128, or Shevchenko by decision plus 134. It's hard to call. That's why the odds are so close. I tend to lean towards a finish, though, Cole. I think she dominates this fight, man. I don't see Ai lasting the 5 rounds. I don't even think she's been in 5 rounds before, and I don't see this being the first time she does. I think Shevchenko absolutely destroys her in this fight. And, I think she's going to, like you said, Cole, I think she'll be a champ for a long time. You know, I did pick her in the last fight against Chukagian. I think she's been a little underrated lately. And just in general, she's able to grind fights out. That's not going to be enough in this fight, not when you're fighting someone as dangerous everywhere the fight goes that Shevchenko is. So give me Shevchenko inside the distance. I think she dominates the fight and stops it. Main event of the evening, Cole. Vacant bantamweight title fight between Henry Cejudo and Marlon Moraes. Henry Cejudo moving up to 135 to take on Moraes. Amazing fight. Love this fight. Moraes opened at minus 180 with the comeback on Cejudo plus 150. And currently we have Moraes at minus 130 and Cejudo at plus 110. So a lot of respect here for Henry Cejudo from the bettors, at least now. Who knows what's going to happen by fight time? The fight's on Saturday, so a couple days still for the odds to change. But right now, Cole, who do you like to win the UFC vacant bantamweight title?
Well, this is a really good fight. Like Moraes should have had a title shot a while ago. I think him versus Dillashaw would have been really interesting. But I honestly favor Henry Cejudo. I've been really impressed with him. The knockout over Dillashaw. He went the distance with Demetrius Johnson. Whether you think he won or not, he won on the scorecards. He grinded out a win. That ankle was really scary in the first round or second round, was it? Where he rolled it. And then people thought the fight was going to be over, and he overcame that and really took Johnson down numerous times. I think that's what he's going to do to Moraes. I don't know if he'll be able to keep Moraes down. That's the big question. But I think he can get Moraes down enough where he will score points. I think his striking is really impressive. People underrate it. But Moraes, he's explosive. Like, he just takes one punch or kick to knock you out. But I think Cejudo grinds out a decision win and becomes a champ now.
Yeah, I mean, oh, wow. What a great fight. I don't know. This is a tough one to call, man. Really, really tough. They're both so good. Okay, so I actually did 2 articles over MMAnews.com. I'm going to give a plug right now. The top 5 moments of both guys' careers, and they both have some really good moments to think about. So just talking about Cejudo first here. He's 32 years old, but I think he's in his prime right now as far as being an athlete goes. 4 straight wins, back-to-back wins over Dillashaw and Johnson. Those are very impressive. Also beat Pettis and Reyes. Of course, he lost to Benavidez in a fight that I think probably should have won. There was like a foul in there that kind of changed the decision. And then, of course, he lost to Johnson in the first fight. But since then, undefeated, looked amazing. The guy's really incredible, man. Like you said, Cole, Olympic caliber wrestler, superb knockout power. And then on the other hand, you got Marlon Moraes, 31 years old, so just a little bit younger. He's looked amazing in the UFC. Lost to the split decision to Sunset on his debut. I think a lot of people thought he won that fight. And then since then, won 4 straight fights and looked better and better every fight. Dodson, Sterling Rivera, and a Sunset all by stoppage. I remember watching this guy years ago at WSOF 1, and he fought Miguel Torres, and he was a big underdog. No one even knew who he was. And he went out there and beat Miguel Torres, who at the time was a pretty respected veteran. And then his next fight, he beat Tyson Nam, who was coming off a knockout loss over Eduardo Dantes in Bellator. Knockout win, excuse me. And I was like, man, this guy's got the potential. And then, he started winning some more fights, won the WSOF bantamweight title, defended it a bunch of times. And then the UFC signed him after the PFL merger. And I've been nothing but impressed. Aside from the first fight against the Sunset, I've been nothing but impressed with this guy. It's a really close fight. I like Moraes, though, man. I think that the striking advantage is going to be the key here. I do think he's a better striker, and I think he's more varied. He's got more kicks, and I think that he can win a decision. I don't see – it could be a stoppage too. It's possible for sure, but I'll say it goes to the decision. I'll say Moraes wins a decision. He has been 5 rounds so many times and has grinded out a bunch of fights like that. But again, Cole, I have a lot of respect for Cejudo too, especially what he's done lately. So he could pull it off. I wouldn't put it past him. And I think there's these fights sometimes where you just want to watch as a fan and not even have like any sort of bet on it or anything like that. I think this would probably be one of those fights. So I'll take Moraes by decision, but yeah, definitely can't wait for this one. Could be a lot of fun. All right, so we disagreed on a couple. That's fine. We'll talk about that next week. We'll see what happens. Hopefully both of us have some better picks than that last card. That wasn't that good. Just before we get out of here, Cole, UFC 242 main event was announced yesterday between Khabib and Poirier. Initial thoughts on that one?
Well, I think this is a good fight. I think everyone knew this was going to happen in 242. It's just a matter of time when the contracts were signed. But you have to favor Khabib in this one. I think he wins this fight. Wouldn't be surprised if he finishes Poirier. But Poirier's been overlooked his entire career. He has a solid ground game, like an underrated ground game. His striking's really impressive. And like he can take tons of damage. Like he has gone up against Gaethje, didn't get knocked out. Like he took a ton of damage. Alvarez, he survived him. But I think you got to favor Khabib. But I just think Khabib's way too good. I think the only tough matchup for Khabib, I think the hardest matchup is a Tony Ferguson. But honestly, I just think Khabib's that good. I wouldn't be surprised if he went undefeated the rest of the way.
Yep, no, for sure. By the way, before we get out of here, we could talk about PFL quickly. It looks like there's a card here. I didn't know there was a PFL card. It feels like they don't promote their cards very well, Cole. June 6th, which is tomorrow. Let's talk about this one quickly, Cole. I didn't look into it too much, but I want to get your thoughts on a few fights. Pull up. Do you mind pulling up the card? Pull it up here.
Yeah, I got it.
Got it? Okay, cool. I mean, is there anyone that stands out to you? Obviously, Vinny Magalhaes. He lost to Sean O'Connell, but I'm assuming he'd be a favorite at the light heavyweight division. That's the term. It's light heavyweight and heavyweight this week, so you're going to see a lot of finishes. I like Vinny though, and then for heavyweight, I mean, geez. Also, Jordan Johnson's there too. I didn't realize that he's on the card as well. Guy that was cut from the UFC because of his style, probably. But as far as heavyweights go, I mean, that's tough. Maybe Ishii. He's got a lot of experience, or Nicholson. You'll probably see a couple of guys emerge as talents here. Any thoughts on any of the fights on this one before we get out here?
Well, yeah, I think PFL, they haven't been promoting enough. Like, I don't really know when their cards are. And something I hate they do is they rename it PFL 3. Why don't you just do, like, continue the number or do what the NFL does, like a season, like week 3? Like, everyone understands that in the NFL. Like, I know Ariel's been complaining about that. Like, because when you try to compare it, be like, oh, at PFL 3, but, oh, which one are you talking? Last year or this year when that happened? But really, PFL, like, I like Jordan Johnson a lot in the light heavyweight division. Heavyweight, I don't know too many of the fighters. That's the problem with PFL. Like, I'm like a huge MMA fan. And there's some fighters that I really don't know because they just come from like overseas and the regional scenes over there. But I think heavyweight and light heavyweight, you're going to get a lot of knockouts. I'm not sure if I'll watch it. Probably just catch some finishes on Twitter or whatnot. But like Jordan Johnson in the light heavyweight, who's I favor. Yeah,
I know for sure. I mean, Johnson, again, a guy that was cut because of his style, I think, and he didn't really finish fight. Well, he finished his last fight in the UFC, but still an interesting prospect. But yeah, overall, a lot of guys that you know what? There are a lot of guys that I recognize in this card. There's only a few kind of newbies here. What about Alex Nicholson? Did you interview him or something? Am I wrong with that?
No, I interviewed Rakeem Cleveland.
Okay,
yeah.
Another heavyweight or light heavyweight, I guess now.
Yeah.
Victor Nemkov. Yeah, that's an interesting fight. Anyways, you know what? There's no odds for it, so we can't really talk about these fights. That's the other thing I hate about the PFL. They don't release the odds till the day of the fight, man.
Yeah.
It's not really PFL itself's fault, but they don't like make it. They don't promote themselves enough where the odds makers are running out to get those odds out quickly, and that's where it's Wednesday. The weigh-ins just happened. I just saw Ronnie Marks missed weight too, by the way. So I guess his opponent gets a walk, right? I'm pretty sure. That's how it works, right?
You can either take the walk over 3 points, you can fight and try to get the finish, but you're guaranteed 3 points.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think that's how it works. That's what I've been told, but. PFL is so their weigh-ins are so weird. They don't like stream or anything, and then so I do them for SureDog, and basically they just said like do it whenever you get them because I'll email PFL and they're like, oh, we don't release them until the official weigh-ins at 4. But then there's people that leak them out, but like I don't know where they get them from, so I just kind of write the article whenever I get all the weigh-ins.
Yeah, PFL's weird. I mean, they have some good fighters, but like you said, the promotions lacking, and it seems like we talked about this the other day. I was out with James and a bunch of other guys and media guys, and we're just like, how are they going to survive? Like, I'm surprised. I was surprised they paid out those guys in the first season. I'm not going to lie, Cole, but like Sean O'Connell won $1 million. I was like, yeah, right, he's never going to see that. Apparently, he got it, so good for him. I don't know, man. I feel like ESPN obviously is going all in on the MMA thing, which is great, but it feels like they're spending a lot of money and not getting return. Like, have you seen the numbers and stuff? Like, they're not good at all. So. But you know what? It's lack of promotion, man. Like the card's actually on TSN, Cole. I'm going to tape it, but am I going to sit at home and like go in front of my TV and can't wait to watch PFL? Probably not. I mean, I already have UFC to cover this weekend, so I'll probably tape it and check out the finishes later on. But I'm like you, Cole. I'll probably end up seeing a lot of the stuff on Twitter, anyways. And I think that PFL's got to do a better job of promoting their fights. All right, is there anything else you want to talk before we get out of here?
No, nothing really.
Okay, cool. Cole, tell people where you can find you on Twitter and stuff.
You can find me at Cole Shelton 91 this week. BJ Penn, I did interviews with Blago Ivanov, Calvin Kattar, Jessica I. Then I have my fighter picks out for Cerrone Ferguson, Shevchenko I, and tomorrow will be Cejudo Moraes. SureDog.
How are you getting those guys? I keep seeing your picks. Like, are you calling them on the phone and texting them? What do you do?
Whenever I interview them, I just always ask them like the 3-4 fights coming up next, and they're all really good on it. Some people don't give picks, like Jessica I doesn't give picks. Some people, their picks are just like a couple words. Some people really go in, like Kevin Lee's been really good. Like he went really in depth, like really breaks down the fight, which are good. But yeah, I just do it at the end of the interview. Like I just say, listen, like I do these articles. If you want to do it, we can. If you don't, no worries. But yeah, that's it for this week. Next week, I interviewed Aaron Pico. I don't know many people that interviewed him, but like he's really changed his mindset on fighting. Like that'll be out next week. I'll do two, like why he went to Jackson's, then his fight. Like, but it seems like he basically said like he doesn't know the old Aaron Pico. Like this is a completely new fighter. He said like I'm gonna be a wrestling fighter first, and I'll use my hands when I need to.
Right. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right. So for me on Twitter at MMAdamMartin, just thinking what I have. I gotta send my prime picks in for Showdown.com, so I'll think about that a little bit more today. MMAnews.com just posted the top 5 moments of Moraes' career and Cejudo's careers yesterday. MMARings.net got one on Alexander Rakic, which went up. Where else? DJPen.com. I just talked about what Dana White said of McGregor possibly fighting Khabib again. It could happen. We'll see what happens there. And of course, MMAOsbury.com, man. And guys, go there, subscribe to this channel if you like it. Give us a like and give us some feedback. Appreciate you guys listening, man. Thanks, Cole, for joining us again today. Talk about UFC 238. And we'll actually be off next week because there's just a Bellator card. I don't think we're going to do so for that one. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Talk about UFC Fight Night, the Korean Zombie against Renato Moicano. Until then, have a good day, guys.